podcast and video cast of elite level referees and members of WWR so that you can get a better understanding of who that person is behind the whistle. Welcome back to the podcast. We have an exceptional guest with us today, and I'm really looking forward to learning more about Alessia Ferrari. Now, don't mistake Ferrari for Ferrari, but I'll let her tell that story. So, Alessia, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, Stephen. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
You know, it's so exciting to have you on the podcast today. And, give us kind of the background and who is Alessia Ferrari?
Okay, I was born in Genoa near Recco, so it's a little bit known about water polo.
Yeah.
And I've been in water polo world since, I think, 2005, before I was a player. And then I started whistling. But I always love swimming and whatever it makes in the water.
Now, where did you make that transition where you went from a player, and then at what age did you start to become interested in referee?
Okay, as soon as I finished the high school and started university. I'm a marine engineer, so I've started in 2005 university engineering, and it was too difficult to be a student in engineering and be a player, so too difficult to be in both systems like in that way.
Yeah.
I was starting looking to something to remain in the water polo world, to be with my friends. And so my father told me that there was an advertisement for water polo referees in my region. And I went to the federation, asked some information, and started.
Well, that's fantastic. Now, what does it look like when you start as a referee in Italy? You know, in our country, someone may start with low-level club, age group games, things of that nature. What does it look like in Italy?
Well, the first phase, it's the course. So a national course of water polo rules with the rules and regulations. And then we start with the under 14, under 13 ages, so younger players, and we grow up.
Oh, that's fantastic. And it's at some point, you've been officiating long enough. You are now officiating higher than U14s. I know this. So where does that transition take place in your life, where you go from U14s, maybe a little higher level, maybe you start to get into the Italian league? Where does that transition take place?
Well, from the youngest categories, let's say, we follow the referees are followed by some expert referees or delegates, and as soon as you reach a level to be fielding in the national categories, second division, they ask the federation to try you with the higher level, and so on. So in every match, almost every match, there is a delegate or an evaluator to help you and to give you advices, and then a final comment. And if the evaluation grows, you have many possibilities to reach the first division.
And the delegates and evaluators in Italy, are they retired referees? Are they current referees? Are they coaches? Who are those?
Normally are retired referees.
Okay. And are you scaled on a point system? What type of an evaluation does it look like?
Almost like FINA and LAN, so almost like international evaluations. So they see the difficulty of the matches, how you judge simple fouls, exclusions, penalties, but also how you control the benches and everything inside the pool.
That's fantastic. And I think that's so critical to learn too, because I think that, referees that are trying to work their way up to become better sometimes think that evaluations are somewhat arbitrary, but it's somewhat systematic. The evaluator is watching everything on how you conduct yourself as a referee and what the game looks like as a whole. And I think that's an important point. So now you've graduated, now you're working your way up, and you are now the Alessia Ferrari famous that we know. What does that look like in your daily life now in your water polo schedule?
Well, it's a bit strange because many people knows my name, so but my surname is pretty known. it's really good. I'm trying this year to be like I was always before. So I come to the pool smiling, say hello to everybody, be kind to all the jury tables and so on. But I know that I'm Alessia Ferrari, so I need to show something every game. And as one of my favorite delegates always told me, the next game is always the most difficult one. So just to be always prepared in the correct way, game by game.
And why do you think that is? You know, I tell referees here in the United States that you have your own pride and you're bringing that to the pool deck every single game. And so there are people that if you are assigned a specific game, they will know what type of game they're going to have. Because, for example, if Alessia Ferrari is on the game, I already know from when I saw Alessia referee last, this is what's coming this game. Why is that important for a referee to continue that type of mannerisms and professionalism?
But to be also have the correct concentration during the game, also before the game, and be quiet and calm. So if you trust yourself, if you do the things that you always have done, and it's a sort of attitude to be always on the same level and trying to be always the best version that you can be in the swimming pool.
Well, that's such a great point. Such a great point. Now, Alessia, how many matches will you whistle this year for 2022? How many?
Well, at the moment, I've whistled about 60 games.
Okay.
If we count national and international appointments, I think that I could reach 70, 75 games until the end of the year, but it's okay. It will be my best score.
Oh, that's fantastic. You've been busy this year. That's good.
I'm lucky.
Well, and to officiate 75 games, how does that transition from your international plus your domestic games, the games in Italy, and then when you go away, and I assume you're reffing in the LEN circuit as well. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
Okay. And what does that look like as you transition from the Italian league to, for, you know, some of the referee members that we have of WWR and that listen to the podcast, they don't really understand the difference between that you are a referee in Italy and you're refereeing the Italian league. And then you go outside of Italy and you're refereeing in the LEN tournaments that exist around Europe. What does that look like as a referee?
Well, honestly, I always try to be always the same person.
Yes.
So I whistle always the same kind of falls, if they are, of course, falls, trying to be as much as possible equal on both sides of a pool and trying to judge honestly what I can see, and what I cannot see, I will not whistle. But I don't have a difference. I don't notice differences between Italy and LEN at the moment. I whistle always the same.
But the difference may be you have to pass a LEN referee school as well, right? That's separate from the Italian league. Is that right?
Yeah. Let's say that the first difficult point is the fact that in Italy we speak Italian, so the rules and regulation test are in Italian. It's in English, but I'm lucky enough to be comfortable also in English.
Well, that's good. Now that's good. Now let's get into something specific. What's it like to be a female referee and doing all these things? Because, you know, my wife also is a referee, so I know what it's like to actually, have a female referee and what that looks like here domestically in the United States. What's it look like in Italy and in the LEN competitions?
Well, in Italy, we have the second division, but the referee is just one referee, not a couple. So that was the most difficult part in my referee life, because when I came to the pool, sometimes I saw some players with something like, oh, it's a woman. Oh, why she is here? But as soon as I start whistling, maybe I was lucky, or maybe I was well prepared by my most experienced referees in my region. So after a couple of minutes, I saw that their mind changed a little bit, like, okay, she knows the rules. Okay, I can trust her.
Now,
But
and
honestly,
you're
in
whistling
Italy,
men's
yeah,
games and women's games, correct?
absolutely
Yeah.
everything.
Yes.
In Italy, we are lucky because we are. I'm not the only one women, so we support each other, and we are supported by all the other referees, trying to be as much as comfortable with us and to be a team, even if we are women and men. So something is different. The approach to the game maybe is different. The approach to a protest from a player could be different if some bad words are easily mentioned to women. But we are a team. In Italy, I think we are a team. And also in LAN, I have the same feeling. So if I whistle with a LAN colleague in the past, it was really a nice pleasure to me.
Yeah.
And I felt really comfortable with them.
That's fantastic. And I think that's the biggest thing that we have to understand is that regardless gender, colors, this, that, and everything, we are all referees and we are all one family. And that's a very important thing. And I think that as we progress and we get older, as far as an organization of referees, I hope that more people understand that we are just one big family. What advice would you give to a young female referee that is coming up and trying, because here in the United States, I think some of our female referees struggle because of, male coach with a female referee interaction. Sometimes that becomes difficult. Like you said, the mannerisms and how you handle things is going to be different. Sometimes it's a different approach. What advice would you give to a female referee that's coming up and working their way up into the referee ranks to be able to succeed at your level?
Well, I can say one thing that I've done in my first years, and if I have the possibility to go back, I will not do that in that way. So don't be ashamed to ask anything to your most expert colleagues. So if you have any problem, like any small, simple things, like this coach didn't say hello to me before the game and I was upset. Okay, ask to your most expert colleagues near to yourself in the federation help and how to handle better this kind of situation. Like going to the pool smiling, maybe he will say hello.
That's fantastic. And that's so true, because it could be just some of the littlest things that can make such a big difference in how the appearance and the comfort level and things of that nature. So that's such a good point. Explain to us a little bit, and now I'm going to transition, especially because we have a lot of members. What is WWR and your membership in WWR mean for you?
Well, for me, it's have the possibility to talk about the sport that I love with people coming from every part of the world and have different championship, different attitude to the games, different experiences. And just for example, in Italy, we can't be a referee and also a coach of a team. I know that in many other countries, this is possible. Yes. And for me, it's really, really important to have also the other side of knowing the same rule in two different ways. So having the possibility to talk to any kind of situation, technical and everything, with a really big family in the world is fantastic.
And that's so important too, because I know that we have a lot of members that we have grown on with our female membership at WWR, and we even have a special committee just for the female rules, so that we can have some different opinions and the way that we look at the game and things of that nature. Because some of the things I think we struggle with, I think that the rules are the rules of water polo, and we all know that. But can you give me your opinion, especially as a female referee? Is the game officiated for you? Do you whistle the game a little bit differently when the females are playing as compared to a male athlete? Timing, different things of that nature. Do you see a little bit of adjustments in how you officiate?
To me, yes. First of all, the costume is really different. So in women, we saw many times keeping the costume in every possible way. With men, it's slightly difficult, that kind of things. Then there is the men are a little bit more faster in transition from a side to the pool to the other one. So the attitude and the concentration during the transfer action is, to me, a little bit different. And also the, let's say, the possibility to let them a little bit more play because we are strongest with the men. So could be an opportunity to the referee to have the possibilities to let them score a different goal or give a penalty because the attacker goes in a correct position and taking advantage correctly with a ball. It's a little bit more higher the possibility to do that kind of things in Man City.
Yeah, and you don't get that opportunity in the women's game because of the costume. It really comes down to the costume because there's just so much material that can be grabbed. It becomes very difficult to continue the action because it can be prevented, you know, and I completely agree with you. And this is why WWR has a specific women's committee just for discussions like this, because we do believe there's some differences in the way that we have to time our fouls and how much advantage can be played. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And also there is the fact that women are different human beings from men. So the same whistle could have a different reaction from women to men. The protest could be different and the attitude of the players is different.
That's very true. It's very true. I remember with growing up here in the United States, the women's collegiate program had not started yet. And so our high school team, our high school water polo team would play the local college university club team because they didn't have anyone to play. And they were so physical, you know, and we always would remember the day. It's every single week. We had one day with the women's collegiate club team, and we would always get very fearful because here we were 14, 15 years old, and these women were just beating us and everything, and they had so much knowledge of the game and how to finish, and we were very scared as little boys. But it was so funny because it made us such better players, because I think what I remembered is playing against them, the female players understood how to continue even though there was so much material to grab. They played to the whistle. They played and they understand, and they ultimately have to trust a referee that the referee will step in when appropriate, because there is so much costume and then there are so many other things that can go on. And I think that's just such a critical point in the game.
Yeah.
So what is on the horizons for Alessia Ferrari? First, I want to ask what's happening in your near future. You're obviously trying to get to 75 games, but what are the next steps, and do you have any goals that you've set for yourself as a referee?
Well, the next steps in national championship, I would love to be appointed to a final, of course. We will see if I reach it. In the next future, just a couple of days, or at least less than 10 days, I will be in Greece for the Milan first round qualification of Women Championship. And I would love to have a lot of matches in Milan because they are high level matches.
Yes.
And let's see, at least for now, I have some matches to be some more also in national championships.
Now, how far do you travel in Italy for your games? I mean, are you
well, I'm in Genoa in the north, and I can tell you that 2 weeks ago I was in Sicily.
Okay, so all the way to the south, just like that.
Yes.
Okay. So there's no limit on the kilometers from your home. Okay, well, that's good to know. That's good to know. How about your actions in WWR? You've been very active as a member. You're very vocal, and you provide a lot of, you know, fantastic information that we have been able to take as an executive committee. We have worked in some of the women's programs, things of that nature. Where do you see WWR being part of your life as a referee, and where do we continue to help you?
Well, for example, all the information related to videos and presentation are really important and useful to clarify the rules as much as we can and as much as possible, of course, to whistle all the same situation in the same way. So this is one of my targets, and I think that VVR is working really well in that direction.
Yes, I think that's the biggest thing, and that's the importance of WWR, is that it was, you know, I remember sitting at a table with Boris, and that was really the basis of the discussion was to how to create a group that we can all have the same interpretation of the same sequence of an attack, and so that we all have the same opinion. And it's been a journey, to say the least, but it's been so nice to go, especially in the Americas here, between North, South, Central America. Water polo is played at different times of the year, and to be able to connect the referees, and obviously the internet has helped all that, YouTube, things of that nature, and putting out the videos, but it's allowed the referees to all be on the same page. And I think that's an important thing for WWR. And what is there anything that WWR can do for you that maybe we have missed on, or something that we could do better?
Well, honestly, I think that VVR is doing a really pretty good work with me, or at least I feel the possibility to ask any kind of question, or if I have doubts, to anybody, including the VVR, Boris, George, Stavridis, Alexandrescu, everybody. So it makes me really comfortable to be in this group.
Oh, well, that's fantastic. Now, you are we wish you all the best in all of your endeavors and what's coming up. And we will make sure that no one gets confused that Alessia Ferrari is still only the Alessia Ferrari as a referee. And we will make sure of that. Do you have any comments that you would like to let the referees know throughout the world of how to basically continue, if they want to be a referee, to be successful?
Well, what can I say? Be happy and enjoy every game. Love your sport, and if you have any kind of trouble, give you a chance to be patient with yourself, breathe, and start again.
Oh, that is fantastic. Alessia, thank you so much for taking the time today to be on the podcast and sharing some of the behind the scenes and the story of Alessia Ferrari that we all get to learn and watch on the catwalk and refereeing. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Thank you, everybody.
For more information regarding the World Water Polo Referees Association, find us on the web at www.pra.org. There you can check out the latest news, information, and all of the education that WWR is providing on a global scale.